So earlier today, OnePlus they launched their latest flagship smartwatch, the OnePlus Watch 3, and I've had it in my hands for about 12 days now. But rather than give you a full rundown of every single little detail, I'm just going to talk about my thoughts and experiences of the new device. Just basically a full review on the show right now. In short, it's excellent. I think the OnePlus Watch 3 is the best smartwatch you can buy today if you have an Android phone. If you have an iOS, if you have an iPhone, then this is not compatible at all with iPhones. I'm not even using a OnePlus phone at the moment. I still think it's worth getting if you have another device because you pretty much get every single feature with the exception of the remote camera shutter, which I think you can just work around by installing a third party app from the Google Play Store. OnePlus basically took the OnePlus Watch 2 and improved it in every single way. They fixed a lot of the downsides and regressions. They improved the battery life, improved performance. They added a rotating crown. They added new health features. They also just overall just made it a better watch. Um, when the OnePlus Watch 2 came out, I thought it was the best Wear OS watch because it had amazing battery life. It had the 3 to 4 days of battery life on smart mode, but I still thought, there were some caveats with it. Like it was missing some features that other Wear OS watches had that were nice to have. But I still thought its battery life made it the best of the bunch. But the OnePlus Watch 3 doesn't make me think I'm missing out on any features. But it still is the battery champ out of all Wear OS watches. So I think it's just the best Wear OS watch out of everything, not just because of its battery life, but because it's just pretty dang good all around. But I do need to talk about the battery life first. So the OnePlus Watch 3, um, has the best battery life I've ever seen or even heard about on a Wear OS smartwatch. OnePlus says it gets about 120 hours or 5 days of use in its default smart mode, um, and up to 16 days in its power saving mode. So I made a post on social media over the weekend asking what kind of battery life people are getting with their watches. The answers range from 1 to 3 days with AOD disabled, but with most people getting 1 to 2 days at best. So far, my OnePlus Watch 3 is on track to get about 5 to 6 days with AOD enabled. So I took it off the charger on Saturday morning, and this Tuesday morning it was at 50% about. That was with pretty light usage. I wasn't like heavy usage at all. Like I wasn't like running, constantly tracking GPS, playing music from it. But even with some moderate usage, you'll still get incredible battery life among Wear OS watches. Like my first charge cycle, where I set everything up, but I kept AOD off, it lasted about 5.5 days in smart mode, and an additional 2.5 days on the remaining 10% in power saving mode. The battery life is just amazing. So much so that I'm not even going to bother bringing this charging puck with me, which would be really easy to do because for some reason, OnePlus is the only one that made the charging puck actually detachable. So all you have to do is carry this in your bag and just bring whatever USB cable you want, and it's super convenient. So how's the battery life so good? OnePlus is using the Wear OS hybrid interface that it co-developed with Google, which means that there's a secondary microcontroller on this watch that handles things like notifications, watch face rendering, and basic health tracking instead of the more powerful Snapdragon W5 chip. I recommend you go back and listen to episode 33 of the podcast, where we had an exclusive interview with Wear OS VP Bjorn Kilburn about this hybrid interface. And in addition to that hybrid interface, there's also a bigger battery, 631 milliamp hours, and it uses the same carbon silicon nanostack battery technology that OnePlus used in the OnePlus 13. And what I think really makes this combination shine is how seamless a transition it is between the MCU or the microcontroller and the actual Wear OS interface. So if I like wait here for a second as it transitions to the AOD, right now it's like in the AOD is it's the display is on regular, and that's in the Wear OS mode. But when it transitions to the AOD, this is actually all being run on the microcontroller in the power saving mode. It's kind of like seamlessly waking up and transitioning between these two. It's great. Um, you don't even notice it because the UI is identical. The MCU in this year is upgraded, so it even runs snappier than before. The other big change is that they finally added a rotating crown to the OnePlus Watch 3, which is one of the biggest improvements year over year. So the OnePlus Watch 2, right here, I'm holding it up. it did have technically a physically rotating crown, but when you actually rotated it, nothing happened in the UI. But if you do the same on the OnePlus Watch 3 right here, I have this rotating crown, like things actually happen. It's actually rotating. It rotates pretty smoothly. It's a really nice, feels very nice to rotate. Which means you don't have to constantly like swipe whenever you want to just go up and down inside of an app. It's very nice. Um, all the buttons are very clicky and everything. And in terms of new software features, OnePlus they finally added a watch transfer feature. So if I go into settings, I can finally just quickly transfer which this watch is paired to. On the OnePlus Watch 2, you had to factory reset right here, the transfer watch feature. Finally, they added this feature. You had to factory reset the watch if you wanted to do this with the OnePlus Watch 2, which was a huge pain in the butt because as tech reviewers, we get so many new phones a year. Having to reset the watch was a huge pain. They also greatly expanded the number of health features on the watch. They added an ECG detection feature, so I can quickly show that off here. Although, do note that ECG detection is not available in the US or Canada because it's not certified by the regulatory agencies. But it is enabled on the reviewer units we have here. They also added fall detection, wrist temperature measurements, and vascular detection. So like you can check your vascular health, the arterial stress levels, arterial stiffening is what they call it. You have the wrist right here, wrist temperature. You can measure. You can also do this 60-second health checkup, which you just put a finger here, it scans through. Put a finger here, it scans through like a whole bunch of different metrics, and it gives you like a comprehensive output. So you don't have to like manually individually check your heart rate, your blood oxygen levels, your ECG. It does all that in one single step. They also improve sleep monitoring. They improve the heart rate sensor, and they improve the location tracking by adding a new antenna type in GPS chip. I'm not going to go in depth about the fitness tracking features because I haven't really tested them as thoroughly as my colleague Jason, who is going to be posting his full review that focuses more on the health and fitness aspects on his channel next week. So be sure to check that out once it's out. Everything else about the Watch 3 is very premium. It has a big, bright 1.5-inch AMOLED display that reaches a peak brightness of 2200 nits, so it's very usable and bright outdoors. It has a 2D sapphire crystal glass layer for protection. I already dropped it once, admittedly on a carpet, but still, I'm glad it didn't get scratched. It also has a stainless steel case with a stainless steel buckle, titanium alloy bezel, fast charging support, 2 gigs of RAM, and 32 gigs of storage. Very snappy, premium feeling smartwatch all around. And the wrist straps, it supports generic 22 millimeter wrist straps. They include a 22 millimeter fluoro rubber watch strap in emerald green that I got, or solid black. I've only been wearing this green wrist strap throughout the review period. I'm going to switch over to this 22 millimeter third party nylon Velcro wrist strap soon. And yeah, this watch is not going to be for everyone. It's kind of big. It might be too heavy for some people. There's only one size. And at $329.99 in the US, it is a bit pricey, compared to other watches and wearables you can get. Although OnePlus is running a pre-sale right now that knocks $30 off, and you can also trade in a device to get another $50 off. It also will only get 2 years of software and security updates compared to 3 years from Google and 4 years from Samsung. It does run the latest version of Wear OS 5 out of the box, but if software updates aren't important to you on a watch, and I don't think they probably are for most people, then I think this is probably going to be the best Wear OS watch that you can pair with an Android phone. So long as you're not looking for a standalone option because there's no LTE connectivity on this. Um, if this can fit comfortably on your wrist like it does for me, then I think this is going to be an excellent option, perhaps the best option if you have an Android phone. This is personally going to be my daily driver smartwatch for the foreseeable future, probably until whenever OnePlus releases a sequel or the OnePlus Watch 4, whenever that happens. So yeah, very good things to say about this watch. I've had it for almost 2 weeks. There's still some things I need to test out, but I am very pleased with what OnePlus did with this watch.